True, very, very dreadfully annoyed I had been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? The plumbing issue had sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. I heard all things in kitchen and bath. I heard many things in the sewer. How then am I mad? Hearken, and observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say how it first started, but once it conceived, it haunted me dawn and dusk. Object there was one. Plumbing there was some. I loved the faucet. It had never wronged me. For its value I had no desire. I think it was the drip, yes it was this, of its leak that resembled that of a ghost. A pale blue drip with a plop over it. Whenever I heard it, my blood ran cold. And so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the ghostly faucet and thus rid myself of the ghastly drip forever. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight of plumbing, with what dissimulation I went to work. I was never kinder to the darned faucet and my plumber than during the whole week before I put it out of service. And though every night about midnight I turned the latch of the bathroom door and opened it, oh so gently, and then when I had made an opening sufficient for my head, I thrust in my head. Oh, you would have laughed to see how slowly I thrust it in. I moved it very slowly, very, very slowly, so that I might not disturb the faucet strip. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening, so far that I could see the faucet as it lay upon its countertop. And then, when my head was well in the bathroom, I stared at the veil of black. For an hour I did so very quietly, and I did this for 7 long nights. And every night, just at midnight, I found the drip never ended. So it was impossible to do work, for it rung across all my abode. And every morning, when the day broke, I went boldly into the bathroom. Brushed my teeth. On the 8th night, I was apprehensive. Very much so, grabbing my wrench, and inched towards the door. I was more than usually cautious before that night. Usually opening the door. A watch's minute hand moves more quickly than did mine. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own power. I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph. Feelings of triumph. To think that there I was, opening the door little by little, and not ever to hear that faint drip again. I smiled at the idea. Smile, Jesus, smile. And perhaps the faucet heard me, for it began dripping faster, as if startled. Now you may think I drew back, but no. The bathroom was as black as pitch, with the thick darkness, for the shutters were closed fastened, through my fear of bathroom stalkers looking in. And so I knew I was clear of the opening of the door, and I kept pushing it on steadily. I had my head in, was about to open my toolbox, when my thumb slipped on the fastenings, and the faucet stopped dripping, followed with the groan of pipes. For a whole hour I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear anything except rumbling. The faucet was still in the countertop, still, almost listening, just as I have done, night after night, hearkening to the death watches in the wall. Presently, I heard a slight rumble. I knew it was a groan of worriedness. It was not a groan of pain or grief. Oh no, it was a low, stifled sound that rises from the bottom of pipes when overcharged. I knew the sound well. I had been too frequently to the bath. I said I knew it well. I knew what the faucet felt and pitied it, although I chuckled at heart. I knew that it had been lying still ever since the first slight noise, when he had turned still. Its fears had been ever since growing upon it. It had been trying to fancy them causeless, but could not. Yes, it has been trying to comfort with these suppositions, but had found all in vain. All in vain, because death in approaching him had stalked with his black shadow before him, enveloped the victim, and it was the mournful influence of the unperceived shadow that caused him to feel, although neither saw nor heard, to feel the presence of my head within the room. I had waited a long time, very patiently, without hearing it settle down. I resolved to open a very, very little crevice in the lantern. Point to the lantern. Point to the lantern. The faucet's hour had come. With a maniacal loud yell, I threw open the lantern, leaped into the bathroom like a hideous monkey. The faucet groaned and tapped, but only for a minute. You should have seen with what precaution I turned the wrench I had in hand. Oh, so carefully I burst the pipes. In an instant I ripped the faucet off the sink. As the bell sounded, there came a knocking at the street door.
Who's there?
I went to open it with a light heart, for what had I now to fear? There entered my landlord, striding through my living room, inspecting the house. I was singularly at ease.
Come, sit. Enjoy yourself.
Inspecting the house, he didn't know that I replaced the faucet sitting right there. But ere long, I felt myself, getting pale and wished him gone. My head ached. I fancied a ringing in my ears, but they still sat and chatted. The ringing became more distinct. It continued and got louder. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued, gained definitiveness, until at length I found the noise was not within my ears. No doubt I grew very pale. I talked more fluently, with a heightened voice. Yet the sound increased. What could I do? It was a low, quick sound, much such a sound makes when enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath. I talked more quickly, but the dripping increased. I rose.
Can't do this anymore.
I argued about urinating, spelling waste in the bathroom, but the noise steadily increased. Why would he not be gone?
I'm just gonna keep talking about random
I
stuff.
foamed, I raved, I swore, and the noise arose overall and continually increased. It grew louder, and still the landlord spoke pleasantly.
Yes. So how's that thing going on?
And smiled. Was it possible he heard not? Almighty God, no. He heard, he suspected, knew he was making a mockery of my plumbermanship. This I thought and this I think. But anything was better than this agony. Anything was more tolerable than this derision. I could bear those hypocritical smiles no more. I felt that I must scream.
Dylan.
I shrieked. Dissemble no more.
Dissemble no more. I must confess.
I tried fixing this.
I tried fixing the faucet without your permission. No.
Tear up the planks.
His body lies right here.
It is the dripping of its hideous faucet.
The dripping of the hideous faucet.